Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurasa Sofia bin Designer Azmi and I'm from group number 1. Yes, 1. Our group has chosen one book, this amazing book, which is Brain Rules by Dr. John Medina. So before I start, I'm going to briefly explain who is Dr. John Medina. So he is basically a molecular biologist who wrote this amazing book. In this book, there are 12 rules that basically a scientist have discovered. By this, it can transform these ideas to our daily life. So in this book, there are 12 chapters. Wow. Okay. And I will be cover the first 3 chapters, which are survival, exercise, and sleep. So let's go. So I'm going to talk about the first chapter, which is survival. So before our generation, they are survivor. Why? Because they tend to develop themselves from making a rock to a weapon. So they will be thinking how they will be survive in the next day, because each of the day has a different day, right? Different challenges that will be happen. His brain has been designed to solve problems related to surviving in an unstable outdoor environment, and last but not least, really constant motion. That's why we are survivor, and most important things that they need to develop themselves is their brain. Yeah. Before that, I'm going to ask you guys a question. So do you do stupid things? Because people who usually do silly things and dumb things, basically they don't really know how our brains function, so they tend to do silly things like multitasking. So basically multitasking is not good, because we don't really focus doing these 2 things in one time. So our brain also can fantasize. For example, you have this shuttlecocks. We can also think that this shuttlecocks can be a cup, can be a tools for our makeup, to apply our makeup. What else? Yeah, you can name it. And it is because our brain has dual representation. Yeah. So that's all for the survival chapter. We'll go to exercise. So the next topic will be, I have this. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about exercise. So before I start, do you guys like to exercise? Because when we are exercise, it can improve our cardiovascular fitness, and by that it can reduce the risk of disease like stroke and heart attack. Exercise makes us more alert, because okay, for example, you don't really like to exercise like me. So when you have a low physical activities, it can reduce your poor cognitive performance. So basically the key is exercise can make us smarter. Yeah. So how much do we need to exercise? The answer is 2 or 3 times a week. But before you start to doing your exercise, you have to consult with your doctor, because each of us has a different body. Like every body has different needs, and the most important is that exercise can make us think clearly. That's all for exercise. It's 11:30. I have to sleep now. So next, I'm going to talk about sleep. Again, I'm going to ask you guys a question. So which types of bird that you are? Are you a lark? Are you an owl? Or are you a hummingbird? Okay, they're a lark, the morning person. They usually woke up before the alarm, and they consume less coffee compared to the non-lark. They are the person that more alert during afternoon. The favorite meal for them are during breakfast. Yeah, breakfast is the key. The next are the owl. Owl consume more coffee than daylight. They are more alert during afternoon. They rarely go to bed before 3 a.m. and more productive during evening. These two type of person are only 20% of the population. So, and the last bird is hummingbird. These are the types of the little mixtures of lark and owl. So yeah, this is like the best part, because in this book it tells that 30 minutes of sleep during noon is the best. And this is like in Islam only just to sleep before Zuhur, called Qailula. Yeah, okay. Because during in this time our brain doesn't function really well, but if we sleep during this time and wake up after that, our brain will be more alert. But the most important is sleep is one of factors that can make our brain function really well. So get enough of sleep, know your body, know your types of needs, then you have a good brain. So good night, I'm going to sleep. Bye.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nova Graduate Manisov. My metric number is 1815382. After what you heard my friends presenting about their points, now I will be presenting to you guys about my points, which are the effects from having a stress, wiring, and also paying attention towards our brain. In my opinion, having a stress is normal, but it is abnormal for someone if they having an over stress, because having an over stress can affect not even towards our brain, but it is also can affect towards our body too. In this context, not all stress is same, only the certain types of stress that could really hurt our learning, and also some types of stress that could boost up our learning. And it is also difficult to detect if someone are having a stress or not. But based on the gifted researchers, which Joseph Kim and also David Diamond, they came up with 3 parts definition of for those who are having a stress. And if all these 3 are happen simultaneously, so the person are stressed. First, a measurable physiological response. The second one is a desire to avoid the situation. The third one is a loss control. However, having a stress only could last for a second, not for years. It is because when you are having a stress, your body immediately responds to stress. For example, your pulse raises, your blood pressure rises, and also you feel massive from your energy. And you tend to solve your problem quickly than you could ever thought. It is because that you push your brain to think the solution for your problem. Plus, having a stress also could affect your body defense system. That the adrenaline and cortisol that will for an immediate response to a serious but passing death. And if you are having a chronic stress, the adrenaline will create scars in your blood vessels that can cause you a heart attack and stroke. And the cortisol itself will damage the cells of the hippocampus, that crippling your ability to learn and remember. But sometimes, if the individual itself feels the worst kind of stress, it could actually lead them to emotional stress. For example, it could lead them to depression. And the individual itself, they have no control over the problem, and they are also helpless. And for another example, the impacts that could give towards emotional stress is it could impact across society, on children's ability to learn in school, and on employees' productivity at work. We will move on with wiring. How does this wiring could actually affect on our brain? So, the effects of wiring towards our brain is when you learn something, the wiring in your brain changes. Like your brain will act like a muscle. The more activity you do, the largest and more complex it can become. Fun fact about brain is that what you do in life is physically changes what your brain looks like. But once again, every brain is wired differently. Whether they are examining toddlers or teenagers, different regions in different children develop at different rates. Even identical twins also do not have an identical brain wiring. It's correct, they act differently in their own way of thinking. There will be neither two people's brains stored in the same information, nor the same way or the same way. Last but not least, attention. So how does giving attention could actually how does it work. So the more attention to the brain pays to a given stimulus, the more elaborately the information will be collected. For example, we learn and we focus on one thing, so the info that we keep will actually retain it. How does this brain works towards our brain if we pay attention? Firstly, we can stimulate and alert things that we heard. For example, we heard someone honking, so we can stimulate the sounds, that where does the sounds come from, and we alert the sounds itself. And the next is we kind of respond to the sounds that we heard, and then we found that the sounds come from the car. In this case, the brain does works in finding the things that we pay attention to. That's because it just whispers. However, the brain cannot multitask. At first, that might sound confusing, but at one level, the brain does multitask. How does it multitask? For example, you can walk and talk at the same time. This is all from me, which is 3 brain groups I've mentioned earlier, which are stress, worry, and also attention. So I will pass to the next presenter to present the next points. Thank you.
My name is Siti Norizam binti Muhammad Zamri, metric number 1815464. So now I will explain on how memory, sensory integration, and vision do and works to our brain. Firstly, I will talk about the memory. For this topic, it tells us about the power of the brain and the memory. As stated in this book, the author had mentioned about one story of Kim Pig, a boy who has extraordinary ability to memorize. For your information, he can read and memorize 2 pages of book at the same time. Interesting, right? From this story, the brain scientists started to acknowledge the power of memory, and they do a lot of research about human brain. As for the function of memory, without we realize, he does anything for us. For example, I want to ask you, when you wake up from a deep sleep, do you lose your mind? Do you need to relearn all the things that you have learned before? Do you still remember how to spell truth? You remember, right? So this shows that our memory helps us to remember all the things and make us aware of the surroundings. From this chapter, I get to know 2 types of memory process known as effortless process and effortful process. I think I had experienced both of these processes. Okay, let me explain to you one by one. For the effortless process, it is known as an automatical process. For instance, we will automatically remember of all the things without writing it down. I will give you one example. Hey Siti, what you doing during holiday? And then I can directly answer this question by listing few activities that I have done. It is easy, right? You can see that we managed to list down all the activities without writing it down. And then we easily managed to remember it. So that's for the first process. The second process known as effortful process. In this process, it requires us to put some effort in order for us to remember and memorize all the things. Based on my experience, this process is happened during the final exam when I need to read all the book and need to recall the point that I have learned before. So without reading the book, do you think that I managed to pass the exam? No, right? So this shows that the memory helps us to remember and to make us aware of the surroundings. The next brain rule is sensory integration. In this chapter, it's related to our sixth sense, and the author discussed that our brain processes the daily activity in many senses. To be clearer, we use our sense in order to interpret anything that happens in our life. The most interesting part that has mentioned in this chapter is what we usually see is different with what we heard. Do you guys agree with this statement? So in order to understand this statement, let us watch this video. But you need to close your eyes first before listening to this video. Okay? Please close your eyes. Let me play this video.
Tax, task, tax,
task.
So, what have you heard? So now, let us hear it again while watching this video.
Tax, task, tax, task.
So wow, you can see that our sense has interpreted the thing differently and independently. Now, we move on to the next brain rules known as vision. So from my understanding, the definition of vision is something that we cannot see by our eyes, but we see it by our brain. You get it? Okay, let me give you one example. I always imagine how my children will look like after I'm married. Thus, it is also called as vision. Vision is also known as imagination, illustration, and expectation. Furthermore, in this chapter, the author also relates the words of vision with visualization. He suggests that the most creative way of learning is by using a combination of visualization and words. I agree with this statement because for me, I like to use visual for learning because it made me feel like it's easy to remember and memorize all the points by only looking for the picture. That's all for this rule.
My name is Nur Ilyati binti Sazali. My metric number is 1810470. So I'm going to present 3 topics which are music, gender, and exploration. So I'm going to proceed with the next topic, which is music. Music is considered as one of the elements that can boost human cognition. Music, as we know, it has tempo, it changes in frequency, and it is something that we can call timbre. The first benefits is that the musicians are better listeners to be compared with non-musicians. There are studies by the scientists which shows that music can improve in academics such as improve the reading abilities, math scores, as well as reasoning. Music also can help someone to improve their language skills. For example, a kid who involved with musical instrument for at least 3 years can improve their vocabulary as well as non-verbal reasoning. This shows that the kids who are exposed with the music has better vocabulary to be compared with the kids who don't. Music also improves social skills. How? The musicians are better in detecting emotion, especially in the speech. Music also helps the children to be more empathetic, just like an adult. They are better in decoding the emotion in their social surrounding. Music are not just beneficial for a healthy person, but also to a patient. A stroke patient who receive music therapy score better in their verbal communication to be compared with the patient who received just talk therapy. Last but not least, music also helps human to improve their mood. The variations of this positive effect has been shown in every age, regardless they are healthy or not. So let's move on to the next topic, which is gender. Gender, as you know, we have male and female. This male and female has the differences in their brain, therefore the way of thinking and the behavior also different. The first thing that differ in both male and female is their brain structures. The brain structures that involve is the prefrontal and the frontal cortex, which is responsible in decision making. The second is the amygdala. Amygdala is responsible in our memory as well as our emotion. And the third one is the biochemicals, which is serotonin. In the case of a mental disorder, males tend to have problem with schizophrenia and also tend to be drug addicts as well as alcoholics. While female, on the other hand, tend to be stressed or having depression, having anxiety, as well as anorexics. In verbal communication, male was proved just using one hemisphere, which is right. When they are talking, female use both hemispheres when they are talking, and that caused the female to talk more in detail about an event. There are high status and low status in male, which the high status person loves to give order so that the group As you know, humans learn since they were born. Therefore, a baby was used as the model to know how humans learn. In this book, the author tried to stick out his tongue in front of his baby, and the baby imitated him exactly the way that he stick out his tongue. And from this, they have stick out tongue together as a way to do. Whenever they through this experiment, the author had to that baby learns through observation, hypothesis, experiment, as well as the observation was made on both of them throughout the time together. And after this observation, the baby will make a hypothesis where he will think, I bet if I stick out my tongue, my father will stick out his tongue as well. So he make an experiment, or he executed the experiment by sticking out his tongue. And as a result, the baby will stick out his tongue more often. And not just that, baby also learn about the self-corrected ideas through the concept of object permanence at the age of 18 months. As we grow up, we remain as learner. To some extent, human can be a lifelong learner. This is due to some part of the brain which malleable, just like a baby's brain. This malleable part can help human to grow new connections, to strengthen their existing connections, and even create new ones.